Hi everyone, welcome to Career Launcher. My name is Abhilasha and I'm taking you through CAT 2026 VRC preparation. Today we are going to be doing a reading comprehension based on a fiction piece. So let's get started. So this is John Wayne's jacket. Krishna did not recognize this twin stranger anymore by Stacy Shannon did not. Saucy. Let's read this. The jacket hung at the far end of a closet on a velvet hanger, sealed in a garment bag thick with dust. When unzipped, fringe spilled out first, fine suede strips. Then came the tag, Western Costume Company, Hollywood. Below the embroidered gold lettering, faded permanent marker, John Wayne's name, inked in purple. The twins stared at it the way you stare at something whose context you don't have the vocabulary for. Krishna tried it first, called herself the Duke, drew out a smoky accent, and made them both laugh. Then she handed it over. When Tashina wore it, late afternoon sun filled the room golden, the fringe caught and scattered the light, her hair glowing auburn where it usually red, blue, and black. In the mirror, she looked like no version of herself she'd ever seen. Beautiful, particular, and singular. It was the first time the mirror hadn't simply handed her back a reflection of us. She was not seeing herself all the time. That moment pulled her inward, so she started thinking. She changed things, her hair, her lunch table, her allegiances. So she appreciated and changed many things. But she couldn't explain what she couldn't yet articulate. That she was unable to say what was happening. That she had spent 15 years being grammatically plural and she was tired of it. So she did not want to call herself us anymore. They wore the same clothes, were handed the same Christmas dolls, sorted by strangers into the same archetypes, treated in the same way. The shy twin, the outgoing one, the slow one, the smart one. Krishna brought home the honor roll. Tashina sat in remedial tutoring. So both of the sisters were very interestingly different, even though they were twins. No one considered why. So no one understood why one was very brilliant and the other was in remedial tutoring. In the family's eyes, they were a matched pair. So they were same, which meant Tashina's distinctness could only ever be legible as a deviation. So people did not understand that Tashina was different, distinct, and when they thought of it, they would always say that uh, Krishna was something, Tashina was the deviation. She had done her own research on the jacket, so she studied it. While on the set of The Searchers in 1956, a 2-year-old Navajo child fell seriously ill with pneumonia. With no proper medical help nearby, John Wayne lent his personal plane and pilot to the child's family so they could reach the hospital in time. So that this thing earned him a name among the Navajo extras. All the extras really loved him. The man with the big eagle. So he was called that. But then Tashina watched the film itself, and Wayne's character, Ethan Edwards, unsettled her. She didn't like the character. Edwards spent years searching for his niece taken by the Comanche, but when he finds her living peacefully among them, he wants to kill her rather than bring her home assimilated. So he does not like the idea, but that's a character. The man who saved a sick child played a man who preferred murder to acceptance. So, so here was there was a big contradiction. Here is a man who saved a sick child by sending his plane, but he was a man who wanted to kill. So there was a confusion. Then came the Playboy interview, where Wayne declared his belief in white supremacy and called native people selfish for refusing to give up their land. So then that was even strange. The Nali man had confronted him directly. Wayne's response, Julian, it's just in the Playboy, as if saying something in the magazine made it less real, less his. So there was a lot of contradictions that was going on with John Wayne. When Nali man finally held the jacket again, he stroked the sleeve the way you touch something that contains time. So he loved it. Wayne gave it to him on wrap day. He gave it straight off his back, still sweaty. A golden dollar in the packet, Christmas oranges every year. But the grandfather was clear eyed. He knew. Wayne was Iodigues, nice to me but mean to some other Indians. He did not reconcile, he did not understand what was the difference. He held them alongside each other. So he was like, yeah, he's like this, but he's also like this. The way you hold a thing that is genuinely double. Things always happen when I wear this jacket, he said. Must be lucky. So the twins exchanged a glance across the table. They already knew what was this. All right. Tashina's reaction to wearing the jacket is best described as a recognition that her sense of self had previously been dependent on external validation from her family and peers, suppressed deliberately by a family structure that privileged Krishna's achievements, formed in relation to Krishna but experienced as sufficient until this moment, built on differences Krishna rather than inequality. Oh, so see, it was an us for her, but then suddenly she started seeing her separately. So her life was always as a pair, but the minute she wore her jacket, she realized that she was a separate person. So it was formed in relation to Krishna but experienced as sufficient. She thought it was enough, but then the minute she wore the jacket, she understood that it wasn't. The passage presents Wayne's statement, Julian, it's just in the Playboy, as logically flawed primarily because it assumes that public statement made in an entertainment context carry less moral weight than private ones. Yes. Racist beliefs are offset by private acts. No, it doesn't say that. A person's ideology can be separated from their relationships without distorting either. No, we were not trying to say that. It was in the Playboy. So he was sort of denigrating the idea of the Playboy. The audience of a statement rather than its content determines its ethical significance. No, not at all. So correct answer will be A. You've understood this one. Okay. Let's go to the next question. So, which of the following most accurately describes the grandfather's stance towards John Wayne by the end of the passage? So, grandfather holds those two versions of John Wayne side by side, right? He thinks Wayne is not a good person, but also doesn't really say anything else about him, right? So, what is the grandfather's opinion? Confused, huh? So let's take a look. Forgiving because personal kindness outweighs public ideology? No. Clear eyed. He neither excuses Wayne's racism nor allows it to cancel the relationship. Yes, looks good. Conflicted because his loyalty to Wayne prevents him from condemning him outright. But the passages said that he held them side by side. So, not so three. Unresolved because he lacks sufficient information to reach a final judgment. But he doesn't do that. So, if you go back to the passage in this case, it says, nice to me but mean to some other Indians. He did not reconcile. So, he accepted the fact that Wayne was like that. So, clear eyed, not forgiving, clear eyed. He was very clear in his thought process that Wayne was racist, but he was still a friend. So, B. The passage implies that Tashina's claim to the jacket is stronger than Krishna's primarily because she was the one who physically discovered it in the closet. The jacket represented singular identity, something Krishna already had and Tashina had been denied. Their grandfather intended it for whichever twin understood John Wayne's complexity. She had researched its history and engaged seriously with its contradiction, making it meaningful in a way that it wasn't for Krishna. Probably that because if you look at the passage also, she is the one who found the pneumonia story. She watched the movie, she read the interview, she asked the grandfather what it was. So she was more engaged with the jacket rather than Krishna. Okay, for Krishna, it was just an object that she saw, she found, and she wore. But Tashina was very seriously engaged. So, probably that is why her claim to the jacket was stronger than Krishna's. Correct? All right, guys. So, those were your 4 questions. I hope you've answered the questions correctly. The Career Launcher test series is already on for MBA 2026. It is closest to the exam structure. Put yourself to the test today, guys. You must enroll now. Of course, here is the QR code which you can use to enroll to our test series. Okay. All right. Remember to join us again, same time, same place next week. Remember to hit like, If you liked it, subscribe to the channel so that you can participate in the group chats and also share it with a friend so you have somebody else to share and discuss it with. Enroll at Career Launcher. Use this number 8130038836. All right, guys, that brings me to the end of this session. Thank you so much. I will see you next week.